boys said to themselves.
Oh, I was waiting for you to kick that.
Yeah.
It's not mine, it's fine.
Goes for
And
boots! And this one's on half price.
oh, look at me, I'm a Remington. I'm going good.
Alright, Friday Night Live is kicked off. We are live.
Look at me, I'm a Remington fan.
Yeah. So for those people, there's probably no one logged in yet, is there? There's probably no one. Is there anyone?
Four.
Four people. Shout out to the 4 people who have logged in extra early, who've seen us go live. Appreciate it, guys. Hit us a like if you can make sure you can hear us. So tonight we're going to be talking about. I'm going to pull a Remington apart. Trent's going to be talking about ADI and so the availability of ADI and Leupold scopes. And I'm going to be talking about Boscabel, which I've got to go and get one. Boscabel bipods, and a great Australian-made product. That's the B18 now. I want B19, which is like juniors in there. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Junior.
And yeah, that's going to be tonight's episode. So really, we hope it turns out all right. Like every episode, we don't rehearse anything. We sort of make it up as like we come up with topics and then make it up as we go along. So it's all very natural and raw and real. And
Ken just said, fish and chips!
fish and chips.
Fish and chips!
Right.
Hope you enjoy them, Ken.
Hope you like your fish and chips, Ken. Ken has fish and chips every Friday night, he says, doesn't he? He must have a really good fish and chip place.
Well, if you're going to use it every Friday, it better be good.
It'd want to be good.
Yeah.
It's either that or it's shit and he's got used to it.
No,
But if it's a good fish and chip place, Ken, let us know.
well, if it is a shit fish and chip shop, you wouldn't go back. Like, I don't tolerate shit fish and chips.
No.
So,
Yeah, true. But you get what you can get sometimes.
I mean,
I don't have a nice fish and chip place near where I live.
You live
yeah, but you live in a hole.
Yeah, that's usually where the low socioeconomic areas is where the best like Indian food and stuff like that is, isn't it?
G'day, Spencer.
Oh, Jason's on, is he?
Yep.
Jason Spencer. How are you, Jace?
He'd be nearly due to cook us some more food, I reckon.
I saw he had a live thing the other night on Hunt Catch Cook.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I didn't actually watch it, but
Nah,
I just saw that it was there.
I don't watch him either.
So,
Lies, Jason O'Flynn, no, mate, I would have watched.
so I made a huge mistake and advertised that I am on Facebook again. And I'm only added Facebook for a couple of different reasons. One, I'm playing around at the moment trying to get the shop's Facebook account to work on our laptops. So, and you need to have like an admin account and register where it is and all that sort of stuff. I'm going to play with your phone as well because you're listed as an admin. And I'm trying to get that to work, and I wanted to get involved in more of the industry stuff. And so I created a new Facebook account, and I advertised that I created a new Facebook account. So if you're watching, I have a new Facebook account. So, but I made a huge mistake in advertising that I have a Facebook account because now I've got a lot of people have added me, and now my news feed is just full of racist shit. So I'm a little bit. I'm not going to watch Facebook, pretty much. It's just the most depressing crap that's on there. And it is, it's just shit. It's just nonsense.
So what we're going to do is later on is actually give out his personal phone number.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I just give him my address, hey? Yeah, just give him my...
So if you want to send some racist stuff to him, feel free.
Yeah, just give out my address and my list of fears and that sort of stuff. And
Just text it to him.
List of demands.
Anytime between midnight and 3 in the morning is a good time.
yeah, that's it. Yeah. Well, there's nothing you can do that my boy wouldn't have already done, so...
Well, Ken's saying Chalice Road Fish and Chips is the best.
So you've got a 96 Mauser.
Yeah.
You know, I spoke about 96 Mausers last week.
Yeah, but he didn't tell us.
No. Indeed.
People just comes on, bam, how you like that? You don't know nothing
So
about
I didn't tell him much. I must know fuck all, yeah? So what's this?
This is
Oh,
an Ardendorf manufactured Mauser 96.
Oh, is that the original barrel that's in it?
Oh, I can't remember.
Hang
You
on.
can't remember. I can remember.
this
This
seems
is
to
the
be
original
like...
barrel.
No, it's not the original
Is it?
barrel. No.
Why not?
Because I know it's not the original barrel because I put the fucking barrel in it.
Oh, did you?
I built that for you.
Hang on.
You ungrateful bastard.
Okay. Anyway,
To shoot service rifles, sorry?
It feels very familiar to me, like we've already spoken about this gun.
We have. It was last week's episode.
No, that was mine last week. Mine was a Carl Gustav.
Oh, this is a different
I
one.
spoke about Oberndorf
That's
96s.
right. I don't give a fuck about
I
Mausers.
couldn't find that bloody Carl Gustav. You've lost it.
You've lost it.
I'll go get it for you.
That's
Alright,
all
if you
right,
want to start talking about Mauser 96s
Yeah, I will.
and 98s and that sort of
That's
stuff.
what we do. We lose.
I'll grab a couple more.
Anyway, folks, here is probably one of the nicest ex-military rifles you'll ever come across. A lot of people poo-poo it, but it's in 6.5 caliber, and would you believe the Yanks have just about discovered 6.5? If you're talking about Creedmoors, they finally discovered that 6.5 projectiles are wonderfully ballistically efficient, and so they decided, after about 100 years, a bit more, to promote them. But the Swedes knew all about 6.5s in 1894, because in 1894, along with a lot of other European nations, they were keen to develop a magazine-fed rifle for their military. They'd been using up until then a Swedish manufactured a copy of a Remington rolling block in about a 45 caliber, I believe. I can't remember the exact details on that one, but they were beautifully made rifles as well. And there's still a few found around the place, and guys still shoot them as a military rifle. But by 1894, the Swedes, along with the Mauser factory in Germany, had developed from the earlier German-made 1892 Mauser, which was like the predecessor to all of the modern Mausers that we see nowadays, from 1894 onwards. The Swedes decided that they would first develop a carbine, and it was the 1894 Swedish carbine in 6.5 by 55.
That's a carbine.
No, it's not.
Oh,
You're talking about the first rifle they developed in 6.5 by 55 was a carbine. Some of them were made in the Mauser factory, quite a few of them, and then the Swedes carried on to develop their long rifle, which in dimension size replicated most of the military rifles that were being used then by the modern armies in Europe. Like the British had their number one Lee Enfield, Lee Medford and Lee Enfield. The Germans had their long Mauser 9088, early, and then they developed later the modern 98 action, which was a bit stronger than these 96 actions, although these are still very good. I've seen them converted. I wouldn't do it myself, but I've seen them converted to 308 Winchester, 22-250, and a few other more modern rounds. But these are beautifully fitted out, made out of very high quality steel and finished in almost a commercial finish. The wood to wood fit, the wood to metal fit, and the consistency is phenomenal. You can take one of these apart and swap all the bits into that rifle and vice versa, and they would fit perfectly. They are certainly, in my opinion anyway, one of the finest made military bolt action rifles you could come across. This one actually made by Carl Gustav in Sweden in 1907. This one here, which we trapped under, is made by Mauser at Oberndorf in Germany in 1900. When the Swedes went to mass produce the 1896 rifle, the German factory trained the Swedish technicians and machinists and so on, and about 30,000 of these rifles were actually made in Germany, and then the manufacture was then carried on in Sweden by Carl Gustaf. They used this rifle right up until the mid-30s, from 1896 through to about 1938, and then they had swapped the manufacturer of the rifle to Husqvarna, and Husqvarna made a shorter rifle. Overall, it was more the same length as SMLE number 1.
That was the
Mark
M38.
3, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That was called the M38.
And it was the M38, the model of 38. And had a few minor differences, had a bent down bolt handle, shorter, the sights were slightly different and calibrated differently. And by then, of course, the Swedes had adopted their Spitzer projectile in their ammunition, and so they had to recalibrate the sights, or they put a disc, a ladder type instructions here on where to set the sights with the different ammunition.
What were they using originally? What, a round nose project?
Yes,
Like a 160 grain or something? So.
I'm not sure what the.
Oh, that was it.
Yeah, I think it was about 160 grain. It was a.
Yeah.
It was.
And then what did they go to? Like a 140 grain?
139 grain Spitzer.
Yeah. Okay.
Gilded with, it looked like the ammunition I've got. I should have bought some of that out as well. But then again, we might have got cranked by someone about having ammunition and firearms in the same place.
Well, fuck me. That's what you do with guns and ammo.
Oh, do you? Is that what it? Oh, okay. Righto. We might do that next time.
It's not like we're fucking amateurs either. This is a gunsmith place. Like, we sort of know what we're doing. We can be reasonably expected and trusted to have ammunition and firearms in the same place at the same time. Well, there's 6.5 ammo behind you there on the shelf.
Oh no, it's too close.
Yeah,
Stop.
Just put a barrier in there.
Yeah, we'll have to put a. Oh, no good putting a rugby player in front of it. God Almighty.
Yeah.
Go through him like it does the socks, you know.
Right.
Don't. It'll start crying.
Anyway, a few minor features on these Model 96s. As most military German rifles, German-made rifles, right up into the 40s. When the magazine is empty, you can't shot the bolt. So it alerts the soldier who's half asleep that he's run out of ammunition in the gun, so he has to put some ammo in.
Well, he ran out twice as much as the Poms.
That's right, he runs out twice as often as a Poms would, yeah, that's about it. One of the things about these Mausers, the early Mausers, they're a cock-on closing action, where, like the 303s,
I've fucking heard this before.
Sounds familiar, this bit.
Sounds familiar.
what you talked about this.
Yeah, at length.
Actually,
Yeah.
Oh, good on you.
Remember when you decided not to be here last week?
Hey?
Remember when you decided not to be here last week?
Is that what it was? Oh, sorry, I missed all that. One of the things they don't have is the third lug on the rear of the bolt, which the 98 Mauser.
Yeah, I didn't say that last week.
Didn't you?
Okay.
Oh, okay. That's something new.
There's a 98. So
Yeah, and here we have a Mexican-made 98, funnily enough. These are what you call a small ring Mauser, same as the 96. But this is a true 98 action. And it has...
Sombrero tattooed on it?
No, it doesn't.
No?
yeah.
It has
stain the wood with tequila.
Yeah, that's it.
It has the third lug back here on the rear of the bolt, which is a safety lug, in case you have a failure, and it would have to be a catastrophic failure.
Pull the bolt out, I'll hold it up closer now.
Okay.
You're up. Okay. Just let it fall.
You got that? You got that? Yeah.
Bang!
Yeah, cheers, mate.
Hey, Bill, James wants to know, where did you get your sweater from? He thinks it's quite snazzy.
So that's a Mauser 98 bolt. So you can see the two lugs there at the front. And you can see at the rear here,
You reckon?
right there, that's the safety lug that locks into the back of the gun. So if you have a really bad failure and the front lug's not crack off, it's out of focus. Then that lug will save you.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Whereas in this one, it doesn't.
You're screwed, yeah? You got 2 lugs at the front and none at the rear. Oh, no, the bolt handle doesn't even lock up.
Bolt
No.
handle doesn't lock up.
No, so you're screwed. But all the bolts come apart the same way. If Bill wants to show you how to do that.
Yeah.
If you've got a Mauser, you can pull the bolt apart really easy.
Yeah. To pull the bolt apart on a Swedish Mauser, lock the action, turn the safety up to the safety flag to the halfway position, which is vertical, and you can still open the bolt. So you open the bolt, and then it's just a matter of unscrewing the plug, and there you have it. You can clean the interior, clean the firing pin, check the pin hasn't been eroded away.
How do you pull that part apart?
Very similar.
No. How do you pull that apart?
Well, this part, on a 98, they have a ferrule with a hole in it in the butt, and you push down on put the firing pin into that and push down on it by holding onto the safety flag.
If yours hasn't got that, just stab it straight through the side of the stock.
There we have it, completely apart.
So you can do it right out in the field.
Yeah.
With no tools.
One of the differences between these two is you'll notice the 98 has 2 big gas ports in the bottom of the bolt. So when you shut the bolt, they're in the left-hand side guide. So if you have a cartridge rupture and the bolt's in that position, and you get a big shot of gas comes back into the bolt, the flange on the firing pin doesn't entirely prevent, but prevents most of the gas exiting the rear of the bolt, which you don't want because your head's about here somewhere. So the gas exits into the slot where the left-hand bolt lug runs, and then exhausts into the atmosphere here, where the thumb groove is for reloading and strip clips. Yeah. So Mauser was a very Mauser thought of a lot of things when he designed his rifles. Lots and lots of things. Very smart man. As Zaine mentioned last week, if you've got the safety on or the bolt handles up and you lift the gun up, you can't see the sight. So it's an indicator to you to do something if you want to use the rifle. The 98 is very similar, except it has a little plunger here, and when that plunges out, like when the bolt is back, you can't rotate the bolt head.
On a 96 you can.
Yeah.
So if I've got safety, I can pull the bolt back, I can turn the shroud.
And
And then it'll fuck up when I go to put it back in.
it's just something extra that Mauser thought of. So when you want to take a 98 bolt to pieces, put the safety to the vertical position, press the little button in, and then you can rotate take it apart. Very, very similar. These were designed in the era when both of these rifles, when it was possibly the quality of ammunition wasn't as good as everyone hoped, and if you had a misfire, it was possible, supposedly, to recock it, and the Mexican was even better. You could recock it and fire it again if you really thought you could do that. But I'd be flicking that one out, whether it was fired or not.
Sweet. You got any larger in Mauser 98 guns? I don't think you do, do you?
I don't think
I went looking, I couldn't see one.
no.
But that one's in 7x57.
Yeah. And that's what it would have been. It's had a new barrel put in it, but that's what it would have been in Mexican use, 7x57.
And who'd they fight? What, the Yanks or who'd the Mexicans fight?
Yeah, but I don't think
Well, they've been fighting themselves for a long time.
yeah, they've been fighting.
No, I'm talking in the 1800s.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
not 1937, that gun was.
early,
Yeah, no,
But like in the early 20th century.
just prior, well, might have been during the time of the First World War, before the Yanks decided to get involved in the European War, they fought a short war with Mexico because
well, they basically wanted the rest of California.
well, that was one thing I suppose, but there'd been
The Germans were gonna fucking.
yeah, the Germans.
A whole bunch of weapons.
The Germans were trying to G the Mexicans up to attack the United States because the Germans, were, of course, were probably afraid that the Americans were going to enter the war. So somehow,
Because that's what I would do. Rather than just send them, a bunch of roses or a fucking mud cake or something, start a war with their neighbour.
well,
Stupid idea that was.
I think it was Ludendorff. I can't remember. There was the Zimmerman telegraph. The Yanks somehow intercepted the Zimmerman telegram to the Mexicans, urging them to attack the Yanks, and there was a big hoo-ha about it, of course. And the Americans fought a border war with the Mexicans around about that time, I believe. But the Mexicans would have been armed with earlier models than this, probably even 1888 Mausers. I'm not sure, but a lot of, just about every South American country bought Mausers, and a lot of them were in 7x57, except the Argentines. They got one in 30 cal. They called it 7.65.
Argentine or whatever it was.
Yeah, Argentine, which was 7.6.
Rimmed, wasn't it?
And the Colombians ran the
It
3006
was a
version.
copy, 765 by 57, I think.
Oh,
Or
right.
just the 57 case, necked up to, neck to down to 30 cal.
Oh, okay.
And didn't the Colombians run a 3006 version?
Yeah, that's right. But I think that was only after
It must have been later.
So,
36
later.
wasn't even
It was a bit
Oh,
later.
yeah, but
when the Yanks had tried to sell them bloody Springfields or something, I
yeah,
suppose.
it's like they just rechambered theirs and
Yeah,
I'll have all your ammo, but
yeah.
piss your guns off.
Yeah, well, there was
Well,
probably
Springfields were basically a bloody Mauser anyway.
Mauser anyway, yeah, virtually. But they're very interesting design of rifle. Very well made. Lots of thought gone into them, and a lot of development.
Who was the original designer of these?
Mauser himself.
Mauser himself.
Yeah.
Who was Ludwig Lowe?
That was a manufacturing plant.
Was it Ludwig?
Yeah, Ludwig Lowe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mauser had his own factory, and I'd have to read the book again on him, but I think Ludwig Lowe bought Mauser's factory, or Mauser bought Ludwig Lowe's factory. I can't remember which way around. Anyway, some of the Mauser rifles that went to South Africa, and from 1900 to 1902, when the Boers were buying Mauser rifles to fight the British in the Boer War, some of those rifles were made were marked Obendorf, but most of them were marked Ludwig Lowe and Co. But they were Mauser rifles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just Ludwig Lowe was a bloody Jew, wasn't he? I don't mean that racist. I'm saying he was because in the Second World War, didn't he? They changed the name of the factory and shit.
Oh, could be. I haven't read that part of it.
I thought there was some real not conspiracy, but there was a real
Like political correctness gone mad.
just a real hypocritical situation there.
Oh, no doubt. I can't imagine the Nazis doing something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
No, they're straight up and down people. They are. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just they were getting they were getting but they were getting a plant that was owned by a Jew to produce munitions for the Nazi war effort or something
Yeah,
like that.
probably were.
Well, if there was one thing that the Nazis were, it was very community minded.
Yeah. Who said that?
I don't know.
Oh. But there was lots of things like that happening. Like the Russians were supplying the Germans with oil and bloody iron ore and God knows what, right up until Germans launched Barbarossa and bloody, slaughtered.
Yeah, they had them sort of fooled. They had everyone fooled. No one thought that Germany would invade Russia at the time.
Oh, yeah, but the British knew that it was going to happen and told Stalin about it, but he ignored it. He was, they were reading.
Since you're a master of all things 303,
What about tonight was about 303? Nothing.
well, there's a fucking question. Just shut up and let me read it. James has asked, could Bill tell us anything about the African forces in France in World War II? They had some form of 303 SMLE, from what my knowledge is.
Well, the British force, the American force?
African force.
The Africans that came.
I don't know, that's just a question.
They were Algerians.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking natives. Oh, okay. I thought you meant like a group of Australians that have been sent to...
You're
talking about
the part of that gave that away was the African forces.
Yeah.
But they actually called the British force the African Corps.
Yeah, in France. The African forces in France.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well,
you got to listen to the whole statement.
Yeah, I don't really listen to it.
There's quite a lot. There's quite a lot of history on that. The
Greek
and Nick Bolton are watching. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Hey everyone that's watching, by the way, thanks very much for tuning in.
There's quite a bit of history.
The Algerians used a lot of French weapons, I believe.
Yeah, originally.
Yeah.
But of course, the Free French forces, there were Navy, Air Force and Army forces, and quite a lot of them were drawn from the French colonies, Morocco, Algeria, and I can't remember.
Who owned Libya, or who colonised Libya?
Italians. Yeah. And although there was lots of supplies in Africa and in Asia, like Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, of French military equipment, but they were going to run out of it, and the British weren't going to manufacture ammunition for French rifles. It was much easier for them to issue 303 Lee Enfields to these African troops. They used when they were in North Africa, they used quite a bit of their own material. It's not widely known, but when Rommel was belting the crap out of the British in North Africa, I can't remember from which city, but a French army marched from somewhere in Central Africa up to the North African coast to assist lateish in the campaign. They bought armoured cars, lots of troops. They had a camel corps. They weren't sitting idly by doing nothing. But I would imagine that after they got involved there, they would have used up most of the material that they'd been able to bring with them from one of their bases in Central Africa. I just forget the name of the general. He was well received by the British, of course, because the more troops you can push into a battle, the better it is. Yeah. And they did quite well, and it was a tremendous effort by them. They marched something like 2,000 kilometres or some bloody thing to get there.
Oh, yeah, right. Well, James was saying he believes they were Somalian.
Yeah, they were, but Somalia's on the other side. The British weren't bloody bashful about asking other nations to help them, and they, because they had South Africans up there in North Africa,
Indians,
lots of Indians, Australians, of course, New Zealanders,
Pakis,
whoever they could get.
All the colonials.
Yes.
It's funny. There's moving from the North African campaign into the Pacific. Late in the war, Free Dutch that had got away from Europe early in the war were shunted out here to Australia, and the Americans and the Australians in Australia trained and equipped these Dutch troops, and they were sent back into Dutch New Guinea to fight alongside the Australians there, and then up through Indonesia and so on to liberate the Indonesians from the tyrannical rule of the Japanese, and just replace it with the
Dutch, Portuguese, and French rule again.
Yeah, with the Dutch, Portuguese, and French colonial rule again. Yeah, and there was an incident of a Dutch ship arriving in Fremantle. I'm not sure, early 1946, and our wharfies wouldn't work it, and wouldn't load it or unload it or supply them or anything, because Australia, as always, is split pretty well evenly between conservative and liberal-minded people, and the trade unions were quite adamant that they weren't going to help the Dutch recolonise Indonesia, because at the time Sukarno had and his I can't remember the name of his followers had declared Indonesia to be independent, but and the Dutch fought a guerrilla war there for quite a few years before it actually did become independent.
And then and plenty of other Southeast Asian countries followed suit.
Oh yeah, oh my god.
All right.
Well, I've only got two hands.
Yeah, but they're fucking massive.
Your big hands. Alright, thanks everyone. That was old shit with Bill. And now let's get into new shit with...
Would you like to sit down or would you like to stand?
No, Trent. Well, we've got two
That's what I was thinking.
chairs now.
So we've got three new
So for you guys who don't know, we actually sit on chairs which are shaped like saddles, yeah? And that's really good for your back. So when you sit on, so you're not slumped back in the chair like a standard like bar stooly type chair. You actually sit forward on the chair, your back's at a much better angle. So it's much more comfortable to sit on one of these for a long time. So if you want to get more into that ergonomic sort of stuff, talk to us, because we know a company that does a lot of ergonomic.
There is one downside.
Yeah, so.
Makes your balls hot. Cool. What are we going to do first?
Makes your balls hot.
Hello everybody. How are you? Hope you all had a good week. Fantastic viewer numbers last week. Considering both of us were actually crook and it was a little bit flat, we did get really good numbers. We want to keep that up. We want to definitely push for some more.
So do you want to talk about that first?
No, I'm not.
No, I want to talk about that now.
Okay, let's talk about that now. What do you want to do? What do you want to talk about?
Okay, so me and Trent were talking today about the numbers and how they are getting considerably bigger, and we have been in talks with some external companies regarding podcasts and all that sort of stuff, and we'll keep you posted on that as we go through it. But certainly we've seen more and more people have been watching our videos live and subsequently in the week.
From a lot further afield as well.
Yeah.
Like we're getting some really good numbers from not just WA and the eastern states, but from even out of the country.
We're getting a lot of Americans watching us and everything as well. We really appreciate it, guys. Thanks very much. And we hope the best with your COVID problem that you've got. So to all our viewers out there from America and Victoria, best of luck.
Yes, especially Victoria.
May the odds be forever in your favour.
There might be Hunger Games soon with the way they're going. Anyway.
Yeah. No, they won't.
So basically what we're trying to do is really get you guys to actually help us push the channel along or push this live along by tagging your mates who think that you're going to be interested in watching us.
Well, first of all, like the video, yeah? So if you see something that you like, hit the like button, because we can actually view it later and see who's putting likes when and what content people like, and we can see when people are logging in, we can see when people are logging out, and we can tailor the content to suit.
Which is something that we are definitely interested in doing. And
well, obviously we don't want to be doing this, excuse me, we don't want to be doing this every Friday night if we're delivering content that people don't want to watch.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And by the sounds of it, we're not actually doing that because of the amount of people that are watching. And
Well, that can't go on forever.
a lot of you guys,
Especially with you, 'cause you're boring as shit.
yeah, a lot of you guys are putting up there that you actually are only watching it for me and the humour,
No.
and not for him. Don't touch my phone, you ass man. So if you guys,
What? No comments.
no, that's because you just fucked my phone, you knobhead. Oh, there you go, you dick cheese. Anyway, so what we want to do is definitely push it a little bit further. So what we'd like to do, definitely give it a trial run today. Start tagging your mates, see if any of them will tune in and start watching us. We want to be able to get up around 20,000 views for tonight. If we can do that, me and Zaine have been talking about doing something special as a bit of a giveaway. But there's going to be stipulations involved. So, we haven't quite nutted out the finer details of it.
Basically what it is, we get to 30,000 views on a video, we'll give away a gun.
Okay?
That's
But-
basically the crux of it.
Yeah,
okay?
but there is going to be some stipulations involved. So, it's going to be something along the lines of, you would have had to have tagged 3 of your mates, you would have had to leave a comment on why you wanted to win the gun, what you like about the show, something like that. And if we clear 30,000 views for that episode, then we will pick somebody out of those comments who will win a firearm. Now, if you're interstate and you win it, we will provide the firearm, the freight from us to your dealer of choice over there. If you're in WA, which I really hope you are. No, I shouldn't say that, should I? Anyway, we will actually help you get your license for that firearm. Yeah? We haven't decided what firearm it is yet, but this is something that we really want to push. So let's have a trial run today, and let's see whether you fellas can get us up over 20 grand. If you can get us up
30.
over... No, for today.
Oh, today?
Yeah, that's a
No,
trial.
30 tonight.
No, okay. Well, it's a trial run tonight.
Well, we're not doing anything until we get to 30k anyway.
Yeah. So
So once we get to 30k, so if you want to win a prize, help us get to 30k basically.
throw us up a like on there right now if you think that's a great idea.
If
you
it's a
think
good
it's a
idea,
great idea,
give us a thumbs up.
Give us a thumbs up.
We've actually got a huge number of people logging in to watch us right now. So
just
there's a
gonna
lot of people watching us right now.
I'm just gonna
If
give
you
you
like
a
the content, you want to win a gun, give us a thumbs up. But then try and like, share, comment, all that sort of stuff.
But
all that good stuff gets us more views, and so you're more likely to win a prize.
yeah, and share the video for sure. Share
We've
it.
got a heap of likes
Sure.
and love hearts. We like love hearts too. It doesn't have to be a thumbs up, it can be a love heart. Or it can be a boo. So we got Scoops is on here asking
Scoops.
about whether they had a giraffe corpse in North Africa.
Corpse.
I don't think
It's not pronounced corpse.
whatever. You'll be a fucking corpse in a minute.
Ooh, you think I'm afraid of you?
Dead cow away, yeah.
You fucking gross.
Couple of guys have wet t-shirt comp. Yeah, no worries, mate. Me and he'll have a wet t-shirt
I'll
comp.
tell you what, if we hit 40,000 views, I'll do the truffle shuffle.
No one wants to see that.
truffle shuffle?
Yeah, look, the thumbs up just stopped. When you said that, the thumbs up just
No,
stopped.
because
one person
No,
put a thumbs
because
up.
this is a little bit
No, it's
delayed.
not.
It
No,
is.
it's
It
not.
is. Ready? Ready? Wait for it. Thumbs up if you want to see the truffle
Nathan,
shuffle.
New South Wales. Hi, Nath.
From New
See
South
you,
Wales.
mate. So we're doing some shout outs here.
Nice.
Teddy's logged in. I like you, Trent Allen, a lot.
Who said that?
Teddy did.
Oh, thanks, Teddy. You're the best.
Clive Palmer targets. I think that's illegal.
Clive
don't-
Palmer target.
We don't have
Well,
to shoot targets of him to know that he's a dog.
I'm sorry to Clive Palmer, but if we used you as a target, nobody would
Any
miss.
future handgun content and training from you guys? I've actually got, I don't really want to pull that handgun that I'm working out on the moment anyway, because
No, not yet.
it's not mine to think. Like, I don't do very much pistol shooting anymore. I did pistol shooting for a long time for those people who know me. I did shot nationally and competed with people like Repicoli and those guys. And Stinko, who sometimes watches the videos. So I know a lot about pistols. I don't do much pistol shooting anymore. I tried to get into it a couple of years ago, and then Nick went and got pregnant and screwed it up for me. And so
Did you ever find out who the dad was?
no,
Alright.
we don't know yet.
Okay. He's a good-looking young fellow, though. So.
He's a good-looking bloke, so it's
Yeah.
probably not mine. But yeah, so I like to do more handgun stuff. It's just we don't sell very many handguns here because we're not involved in that side of the industry. I do a bit of handgun repair, but it's not really my place to be pulling out those sorts of handguns and showing people. But yeah, that is what it is. Just print them out, blah blah blah. Show us your whizzer.
Show us your whizzer.
Need a big printer. Need a big printer to print out Trent targets.
That's a bit rough, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Alright, so do you want to jump on ADI first? But you all know the story. Thumbs up, share, like the video and stuff. We want to get to 30k and we'll give away a gun. Moving on.
Alright.
ADI.
We've had a
Everyone rings up about ADI.
it hasn't stopped for the last 18 months. Everybody wants to know what the deal is with powder. Powder in WA is pretty much ADI only. That's all the battery down south will have. So we're kind of stuck with ADI. Now, the big thing with ADI is that we can't get it. And as you're probably all well aware, you'll go to stores, you'll ring up, and every shop in WA has pretty much got none. That is a massive issue, and it's going to continue to be an issue for WA shooters for the foreseeable future. We are only getting a delivery relative about once a month at this point in time. Works out to be once every sort of 5 weeks. And
I was going to say, we haven't had one for more than a month.
we can only take what our allocation is. So what our magazine is legally allowed to have in it. So for us, that's 50 kilos.
There you go.
So we can only get 50 kilos at a time. Now we have actually been helping out our friends down south, country dealers who cannot get powder to them at all.
Because they'll only deliver within 50 k's of the metro area. So even though the battery's in Baldivis, it's 50 k's from Perth. And so if you're outside that, so for example, Mandurah, who are only down the road from the actual battery, but they're outside the 50k zone, they can't get powder.
That's right. So
that, as far as I know, yeah, I don't want to speak for Rod, but and maybe he's got another arrangement with someone else to get powder. So, like, if give him a ring and see if he's got powder. But that, as far as I understood it, that was the rule.
yeah. So we're currently helping out another country dealer because they would do the same for us in the same situation, and we're getting in as much powder as we can. The unfortunate part of it is that I've got it never seems to get less than 190 kilos on back order. So you guys keep coming in.
That's orders that we've got.
Yeah,
so
you guys keep coming in and ordering it. I'm trying to get it for you, but I've got to clear the back orders first, which means that if you come in and order your 2206H today, you go to the last in the queue. So,
but we're still more likely to get powder than not.
You'll definitely.
So we're not trying to put people off from putting orders in. That's the best way to make sure you get powder.
That's right. That's the only way you'll get powder. Because generally you won't be able to walk into the shop and say, hey, I want a tin of 2206H, 2208, any of those, and I'll be able to go, yeah, sure, I've got them on the shelf. That's not what's happening. So if you do want powder, come in, put your deposit down, but please be very aware that it could be a number of weeks, probably leading into months.
So why are we having the problems that we're having?
Well, it seems like ADI have had a massive problem in supplying Winchester. And then from there...
We'd like to confirm that with ADI if you're watching.
Yeah.
But this is the stories that we're getting told.
And Sean, if you can help us out with that, that would be fantastic by putting up anything in the comments. That would be fantastic. Now,
check your phone.
The other side of it is it's got to come through South Australia. South Australia, as far as we're aware, have a very different placarding system for dangerous goods.
It's a nice way of saying a bullshit system.
They are pretty much
the only state in Australia that doesn't recognise UN codes for explosives.
I'm pretty certain they're the only state in the world that doesn't recognise them. Yeah. So they've got to replacard them or change the boxes, and then once they hit the WA border, they've got to go back into their proper boxes, which also creates time and energy spent doing something that shouldn't really need to be done. Then it's got to go to the battery down south, and then from there it's divvied out. So this is where we're sort of... there's a lot of little problems that are leading up to one big problem, and that's supplying us with powder. Hopefully, it won't be too long until we're back up and running, properly, but let's put it this way, or let's be frank about it, it's been about 18 months as it is now. So
yeah, so there's probably not going to be
any real time.
Quick
soon.
fix in the near future.
But hopefully it happens. But yeah, definitely don't stop ordering powder. But be more proactive. If you know that you're running low on it, or you think you're going to start running low on it,
If you think, by October, I'm probably going to be a bit short. Start putting your orders in now.
Put your
You're not
orders
going to have to pay for it now. You don't pay for it until it gets delivered. So
That's right. So
you're just going to pay a deposit.
yeah, it's got to pay the deposit, and we'll go from there. So keep that in mind, guys. Yeah, that's about all I've got to say about ADI. I don't know if you've got anything else you want to add to it.
If you've got gunpowder, it'll be in a tin like this, yeah? Keep the lid nice and tight on the powder. Keep it out of, put it in a cupboard somewhere so there's no light around. And don't shake your powder. So many people pick up powder and go shake, 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 to try and work out if it's in there or not. We don't sell tins of gravel and stuff. It's don't shake it up. So the powder is made in a spaghetti type form, spaghetti, and they cut it off. So you get little short bits of grain, yeah? And each one of those grains has got, it's got the gunpowder inside there, but it's also got graphite and stuff to actually slow the burn process down. So you get a very, you can anticipate the burn rate of a powder, and you can manipulate it with that sort of thing. So 2213 is a much slower burning powder than 09, which is slower than 08, etc., etc. And they do that by varying the grain size. Now, if you shake this up, those grains of powder can actually break, and if you break a grain of powder from one grain into two smaller grains, you've now got a bigger surface area, and they burn at a faster rate. So you change the burn rate, yeah? No. So if you shake your powder up, you can actually change the burn rate, and you'll get varying velocity spreads and things like that. So don't shake it up, just leave it in the tin.
That will definitely mess with the standard deviation, won't it?
More on there.
I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Where did it come from?
All right.
Huh? Yes,
What do you want to say?
Are you guys right?
No, that's right. These fellas are just talking in the background.
Yeah, just talking over us in the background.
I saw food.
Yeah, bring one of them in.
No.
We need to flog it on.
Well, one of them's going home with me, and I'm going to take one home.
How many is
One's
there
going
left?
home
Well, there's only two because you ate yours.
You fucking ate mine. I ate that much.
Well, that's yours. You also ate 7 of the donuts the other day.
Dave, if you're watching, I want my fucking. You got mine.
Who?
Dave got one. Yeah, because Dave left with one.
Did he?
Yeah. How many are in there?
Nathan Griswold, do not put your card details on Facebook, you knobhead.
Can you delete that comment?
I don't know.
Fuck, I'm gonna have to delete it afterwards, Nate.
But I really.
Nate, you're gonna get scammed. Fuck me.
I don't know, but I'm buying a new gun.
Yeah, thanks, Nate. Just shouted everyone some powder.
Alright, Stuart. Are the primers, cartridges, bullets, and powders shipped separately, or are some locally made?
No, none of it's locally made. Well, ADI
powder is
made.
most of your brass projectiles and primers are all made overseas.
Well, where ADI make their own cases, like OSA ammo.
Oh,
that's
true.
made in ADI.
Yeah,
What primers would they use though?
I don't know what they use.
They probably make their own primers as well, I'd say.
I don't know. Is anybody from ADI on that could tell us?
They probably make their own primers. Cases. We make powder. But OSA ammo is loaded with Sierra projectiles and Hornady projectiles and that sort of stuff.
Nathan's trying to cover his ass. Oh, that's not my numbers. Oh. Yeah, sure it is, mate.
So who
Sure.
is? Yeah.
Sure.
It should be interesting to see if anyone tries to run that number.
I'm going to run it afterwards.
Just go grab that AirPods machine.
That'll be right.
Yeah, so that's what it is. Fucking look at
I know, look at these two idiots.
Bill, can you bring one of them here?
No, one of them's mine.
Bill.
Oh,
William, can you bring one of them here?
wait till you see. So,
Bring one of them here, I'll jump this counter and fucking...
we've got a fantastic customer. I won't name his name. He will know who he is, by us talking about him. But he brings us in the most wonderful things.
You had it turned
When he comes
upside
in,
down.
and as you're probably well aware, free food's great food. He actually brought us in these beautiful desserts. I don't even know what you class them as. Some sort of pastry.
Must have bought 4 of it. That's a strudel.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
strudel.
Yeah, so it's like an apple strudel with custard. It's like 3 layers and it's like a foot long. No, it's more than a foot.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it'd have to be 18 inches.
It's as long as my arm. I wish it was as long as something else.
I should have just coughed on this and then it'll be mine.
Well, it would be.
So yeah, so I really appreciate it. Thanks very much. And that is why
Hey.
we're both obese.
Reese's on. Good work, mate. You made it. Good work.
Yeah, you got two, you bastard. Oh, that one's yours, is it?
Oh,
So
apparently.
that one's the empty one's mine.
Well, you ate yours.
Yeah, the empty one's yours.
Everyone fucking ate mine.
No, you ate yours.
I had like a piece that long. The
So,
rest of it.
guess what I had? None.
Oh, boo-hoo.
Bit like
You
the
get a
donuts
whole
yesterday.
thing to yourself. You
So Reno brought us in 12 donuts, Krispy Kreme donuts the other day, and guess what? Guess who was the only person who got any?
No, I only had 3.5.
I only had 7. Your
So 3.5.
your counting is shocking.
He bought them in for me.
You had 3.5 in one go.
He bought them in for me.
I watched you
They were
squish
mine.
them down like
He
that.
only brings me in because he loves me. He hates you.
I don't care. Lots of people hate me.
Had to bloody. He hated me for
Lots of people hate
letting you go out there and you had to hold your hand while you did pistol shooting and stuff.
Oh, yeah, you don't man. It was actually pretty good to have behind, like, standing right there telling me exactly what to do. It was great. 18
Had to
inches.
put water wings on you.
And I
James,
got half
18
a
inches,
donut.
mate. 18 inches.
No, you had half of one and then you had another half of one.
Alright.
I had half a donut. You and I.
Oh yeah, that was a different donut that
Yeah.
we went halves the other
Yeah.
day.
Alright. So what else are we talking about?
All right, you've spoken about ADI.
Yep.
I'm going to talk about
Oh, actually,
Boscabel.
while we're talking about difficulties in getting stuff, I might carry on with Leupold.
Well,
So-
that is what we do. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
So,
I mean, these are difficult to get to, but
Yeah.
whatever. You talk about what you want to talk
yeah,
about.
well, you just decide what you're going to say because I know it takes a little while for your brain to kick in and put the words into functions. Now, once again, yeah, no, I don't because I messed that one up really good. So we'll just keep on. All right, so for guys chasing Leupold scopes, they're going to be a little bit difficult to get for a while. I believe that maybe the factory over in America has been hit quite hard with COVID or something along those lines. So they are not making Leupold VX Freedoms with the standard duplex reticles at the moment, and they probably won't for a little while.
The way it was explained to me is that scope they actually don't make money on.
Yeah.
It's sort of like their lost leader that they put in the market to get people interested,
Yeah.
and then they upsell them to the better reticles and that sort of stuff.
That's it. So, unfortunately for most of us and for you guys, that's the scope that we sell the most of, and it will be not available probably until
In the next year, though.
yeah, probably until 2022. So be prepared to pay a little bit extra, order the Tri-MOA or the Pigplex or something along those lines, because that's about the only things that we're going to be able to get. So yeah, that's me having my little bit out of the way. Boscabel!
So Boscabel, for you guys that don't know, Boscabel is an Australian company. So
West
it's
Aussie.
West Australia.
West Australian company, yeah.
Even better
It's
than Australia.
owned by Mr. Boscabel. No, it's, so Boscabel is actually a little town down south. Yeah, so it's past like Woodnilling, like towards
Around-
Kojonup.
Yeah, around Koji.
Actually
Yeah,
famous
this
for
Perth
making,
side of Kojonup.
famous for making goat cheese. Or I made that up.
Goat cheese.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
No, like I said, I might have made that up.
I don't know. You
Um,
never
anyway.
know.
Let us know if you're from Boscabel and you make goat cheese. Let us know in the comments below.
So the guys from Boscabel are really good, and this is a really big product. Actually, they've gotten into. So if you want to make it in the world, you've got to get your stuff into America, and they've managed to do that. They've got a lot of product over in America at the moment. This is their new B19. It's only come out a couple of months ago, and like very hard to get them because a lot of them go to the States. A client of ours managed to get a couple of these new release. And this is one of theirs, and we know that they won't have a problem with us showing their product. So the B19 has got a lot of
Advancements?
yeah, but it's not even advancements. It's like a lot of innovative features which they've made over top of their previous model, which in itself was innovative. So it's a very, very smart bipod.
Should we bring the B18 over?
Yeah,
Just
sure.
a comparison.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave. Get your face on there, mate. Show everybody your face. Nah, all
That's why I throw stuff on it.
right. Fair enough.
Okay, so this is the B19, the new one. That's the B18, the old one. So the old model had, like, they come with the same feet. So we'll start at the bottom. There's a heap of different feet options. I've actually got fucking
It went a little bit harder than I thought it was going to.
So you've got these your rubber feet that come as standard. So when you buy the standard bipod, not in the kit, you get it with the rubber feet on it.
There's one's there.
Then you get, if you buy it in a kit, or you can buy them separately, you get the titanium claw feet, which is this one here. It's got a big titanium spike on it.
Great for shooting off your mate's bonnet.
Yeah, straight in the bonnet. Bang!
Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
No. You've got
Stability's
the
your friend.
magnetic feet, which are these ones here,
So
which are probably better for shooting off your mate's bonnet, or your bonnet if you...
Nice, big, flat.
And that's how quick they come off and go back on. Yeah, you can just swap these things out.
So they just push back on. As simple as.
Yeah, there you go.
Simple.
Then you get claw feet, which are like the titanium spikes, but they don't have the spike. They're just like a claw feet.
We had some of them floating around. So.
And then you go, and then the last one they do, oh no, they do the magnetic feet, the last one. So, so there's 4 different feet if you get them in the kit. But the old one, the thing with the old one is that you could, like any other style of bipod, you could extend them out, but these spring in the opposite direction type thing. So, and you can put different springs in the legs.
There's your claw one there, guys.
Cool. So this one's got one of the lighter springs in it at the moment. You can actually get, there's about 4 different sets of springs in there.
Yeah,
so that spring pressure, you can get that really heavy. So if you've got a really front heavy rifle, this will actually support it. And
so
what it allows you to do...
5 in there, mate. There's 5.
Yeah, right, 5.
5.
So if the gun's really heavy on the front, it can be very hard to move the gun around and point it and that sort of stuff and get it level. And so with the Boscabel, you can actually push down on one foot or the other to get it level and lock your feet up, yeah, in that position. The thing is that when you want to put the old B18 away, you have to hold the leg in and then do the locks up to get them to stay in. And then as soon as you let it off, they shoot out like that. Whereas with the B19, similar sort of design, but with these, they've got notched legs like a pen, so you just push them in and they lock in. Push them in hard enough.
Sure do.
No, we've got to push them in hard enough. Yeah. It's not on the gun, so it's...
No, that's right.
So that's the feet design on the Boscabel. Yeah? So really, really clever idea. I really like that idea. The other one is that they never used to have a 45 position. It was either 90 or
up.
Folded up or folded down.
Or it's down.
With the B19, you can fold it to 45 now as well, which is really cool with the claw feet, because then the bottoms of the claws sort of sit on there and they make them much more steady. And then you can obviously fold that up as well. Now on the B19, I'm not exactly sure why, but they've also got this cant adjustment in it. So you can have that sitting there as a fixed bipod, and then you can have it adjustable for cant, yeah? Which sort of defeats the purpose, in my mind, for having the feet able to adjust the cant.
No.
Well, really, the reason why they do that is because some bipods can do it, but, you know, this bipod can do it, but most other bipods can't do it.
Oh, wow.
That's why
Walker is behind the camera.
You didn't give me any fucking, you know...
That's why, because if you do that, if you're on uneven ground, you can level the gun up.
Yeah, we'll say if you took these like PRS shooting or something like that, and they put you on some sort of stupid obstacle and barrier, then yeah, maybe you couldn't get it exactly the way you wanted it. And like, in reality,
maybe.
I mean, that's leaning, isn't it?
I reckon it's
At the end of the day, if you don't like it, you can just lock it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has this one got the swivel feature as well? So you can actually swivel it 17
I know you
degrees?
can, but no, not this one.
No, because the old B18 had that ability. You took out one of these screws and it gave you 17 degrees
I think you can do the same thing with this one.
of traverse.
You just got to take one of those screws out, and it allows you to traverse it.
Yeah, so if you're chasing, or if you're shooting at moving targets and stuff like that, then that gave you that ability to do that without moving your bipod.
Yeah. And then it's also got the quick attach, detach Picatinny rail. So if you got to have a pick rail under the fore end of your gun, and that'll click onto there, and then locks up tight, and you can adjust it on the other side. And then it's just got a quick detach lock on there as well. So you can push the lock in to flick that out to take it off. But you take it on and off quite quickly. So yeah, that's the new B19. They come in, the bipod on their own goes for about $570. In the full kit, I think they go for about $740. They're on our website. If you want like definitive pricing and you want to order one, they're on our website.
Always check our website for pricing because we do sit here with nothing else going on. So a lot of our guesses, a lot of our pricing is just off the top of our head. So don't hold us to it.
But that's exceptionally good value for that style of bipod. Because, I mean, what else is... I mean, if you've got a Seiko TRG and you want a TRG bipod, you'll be spending double that.
What, $1,000 easy?
Yeah.
$1,100. You go for an Atlas, they're about the same price, but they're not locally made.
Yeah, so if you want to support... That's the other thing, is you'll be supporting local innovation.
Yeah. Keep the money in WA.
So I really like the product. So
beautiful stuff. What are we going to do next?
And I'm not saying that because we're not getting any kickbacks or anything from this stuff.
No, but
I really like the product.
If you are keen, I'll have one for tomorrow.
Yeah, but you're a tight fuck.
No, I'm not tight. I've got many kids.
No, I don't want shit for free because I don't want people thinking that we talk about stuff because we get paid to do it. You know
we
what I'm
don't.
saying?
We don't actually get paid to do it, and we don't. We talk about stuff that we like because we like it. We might have a bit of fun with it. I mean, Great Northern has not supplied me any beer yet.
No.
KFC, McDonald's and Pizza Hut have not come to the party either.
Coca-Cola never even...
You're doing alright. You're doing
alright. How shit's that?
No, because if you guys don't know, there's a Naya live feed that's going to be on like in a week, 2 weeks.
Is it?
I shouldn't be talking about it because I commented on the video and they didn't do a shout out, so they had a dick.
Well, I'm going to put out there that last time I commented.
Yeah, he got a shout out. But
they did comment.
But obviously the issue, I mean, there's a lot of really good information associated with that, but obviously there can be a perceived bias there because obviously they're only talking about their products.
And we talk about all products equally.
And I want to try and avoid that sort of view that I could be seen to be biased. So I don't like accepting free shit and stuff. And I don't want to do adverts for people in return for free shit.
I'm slightly the other way. I won't do adverts for you, but if you want
unless
to
you pay him.
But if you want to give me free shit, then that's
I'll review products. If people want to give me products, like if Winchester or Niner or Beretta or whoever it is, give us a product, we'll review it. I'll do an honest review on it, and it'll be completely transparent because I don't accept.
And
I'll buy the product and then review it. I don't give a fuck.
And so far, let's face it. I mean, Naya have supplied us with a Leupold RDS to do a review on.
Which I'm still doing.
Yep, to send
That's
back.
been like 6 months.
Yep. Night Force sent us an ATAC R at one stage in 7 to 35 to do a review on, which we tried to get to, but...
Well, we did a review on it. We didn't publish the review.
No.
But anyone who came to us, we could provide all the information because we had reviewed the product. And as a result, we've sold quite a few 7 to 35.
That's right. And so we're not about to talk something up for the sake of talking something up or because someone gave it to us for free. But if it's a good product, we'll tell you that it's good. If it's shit, we'll tell you that it's shit.
Who was that guy that was on TV who used to talk about how shit everything was that he got given a review? The Pulf that died. He died 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh, you can't lead with
that. Bert Newton's fucking mate. Had his own show. Graham
Kennedy.
Graham Kennedy. We're not going to do a Graham Kennedy either and just shit on your product. Although if it's shit, I will.
But he was hilarious.
Well, what did I say that was false?
Yeah, and I reckon the best part was the crow call.
Yeah, you got taken. Yeah. The what is it? FCC. Consumer thing like warrant. Shut it down. Don't shut us down, motherfucker.
Look,
Yeah. Well, no, because it's Facebook. What are you going to do? Well, Facebook would shut our thing down, but I don't think Zuckerberg could very keen on it.
Nathan, the hard part with your question is, mate, like you got a Hauer and 6.5 Creedmoor, shot undergrounds, and the gun shop found corrosion and pitting in the receiver. The problem with corrosion and pitting in a receiver is how can you prove that was from the factory, and how can you prove that it wasn't something that you did later after you took the gun home? So, yeah, I don't really have an answer for you on that one.
And how is it impacting you? Because I mean, corrosion in the receiver is something that's going to happen eventually, regardless. And unless it's having a detrimental effect on the functional feel of the firearm, obviously if it's causing accuracy problems or if it's making the gun difficult to use or unsafe, then there's obviously an issue associated with that. But otherwise, you might be you might be a bit screwed, dude, trying to, and I mean, even if how long have you had the gun?
Yeah, I mean,
because you've had it more than 6 months, you're going to have to make another application for the gun as well. So it may not be in your interest to go down that road, you know what I'm saying? Regardless, you might get it replaced under warranty, but it's still going to cost you another $190 to get the new gun re-licensed. If it's less than 6 months, well then the police will consider doing a warranty exchange. But that's if you can get it out of it. And I really don't think you will. So
Kathy says,
I don't like being the bearer of bad news, but that's just how it is.
yeah, that's...
Did you buy it from us? No? Well.
Yeah. Kathy says...
No, it's not about that. It's not about that.
Kathy says, I wonder who is the funniest person out of you two both. Let's
Me.
see who is the winner.
Me.
Kathy, I think it's quite clear that he
It's
has
me.
no personality at all.
No, I'm consistently funny.
No.
You make extraordinarily great efforts to be funny on camera when you're not.
But you're a bit of an
But I'm just funny all the time.
Yeah, you're funny peculiar, not funny hard.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, funny peculiar.
Yeah, you're not really.
Get on with the Remington.
They're both funny looking.
Funny looking, that's
Yeah,
it.
funny
Boscabel,
looking.
what else did you? No, you've already spoken
No
about
worries,
it.
Nathan. 12 months. Yeah, you're a bit further on.
Yeah,
But-
Nath, you're going to have to make another application, even if you get gun exchange under warranty. Unless it's having accuracy problems, I really wouldn't worry about it. It's
Yeah.
probably, you're going to burn a lot of bridges trying to get something that's going to end up costing you more money, and you may not even be happy with the next product anyway.
Yeah, and for
Yeah, so
something
but better the devil you'd know in that respect. So, and I'm, again, I'm not trying to, be the bearer of bad news, but if you think about it objectively, I really think, unless you're having really accuracy issues, I would probably cut your losses.
Clinton,
Put it on used guns, get rid of it.
Yeah,
Someone else.
sell it to someone else. Clinton.
You're still going to lose
Oh,
out.
shit. No, let's go back up here. Clinton, yep, there's a few suppliers, wholesalers that do sell a lever release that is above a 223. There isn't any in 223 that I know of, but Verni Karen do a 308 speed line. It is very, very similar to the CZ4F15, which has got that lever release and the gas blowback system. They're running retail over in WA at about $3,500 in wood or synthetic. So they're a really, really cool setup. I've got one just up the back here, so I'll throw that up there for you to have a quick squiz at.
Where'd you get the rings from?
So that's it there. As you can see, it's got the lever on the side. So whack that down, brings the bolt back forward into battery, and off it goes. So yeah, that's probably your best bet.
223 or bigger than 223?
Oh, he said 223 and up. I told him that he couldn't get it in 223. 308's the
308's
smallest
the
they
smallest,
do.
really, yeah.
But awesome rifle, and very much like the CZ515.
What's the CZ515 coming in?
22 LR and 22 Magnum.
Oh, okay, so it's not a centerfire anymore.
No. James wants to know who's the front runner for Employee of the Year at the moment. Well, that's quite clearly me.
What are you talking about?
Bill, you're not an employee, you're a director, so you're not eligible.
Oh, good.
And
That's one way of eliminating the opposition.
And Zaine's not eligible for this because he's got to actually work.
No, it's employee, not worker of the year.
Yeah, that's right. Nathan said, thanks for the good news, boys. Awesome broadcast, by the way. No worries, Nathan. Cheers for tuning in. Really appreciate it. We're up to 84 people watching live.
We've had more than 80 people watching us live the whole time. So.
Oh, well, okay, cool.
Okay, we've got a Remington 700. So I'm going to partially dismantle this Remington 700 just to show you a few things about it, and then I'll probably have to get Dave to do some close-ups with his thing at the same time. Or do you want me to come around there?
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not really excited
Just
about
give me a sec.
Remingtons either. But, so there's sort of like a cult following for Remingtons. And I don't really understand it. Like, certainly going back, 70s, 80s, even 90s, there was a lot of Remingtons around. They seemed to go pretty well. There wasn't a lot of other products on the market. There certainly wasn't anywhere near the amount of aftermarket accessories that you could get for anything but a Remington at the time. And so people really liked them.
I thought you'd read that one there. I reckon Trent will win.
Trent will win what?
The funniest, most best looking and employee of the year.
So,
I agree with you, Kathy.
I agree.
Hi, Kelvin.
You will probably win the more attractive of the year award thing.
Yeah.
But that is fleeting.
Because it does.
Dumb goes all the way to the bone.
Because it does look like somebody set your face on fire and put you out with a fork.
Oh. Well, as opposed to you, it looked like someone set a lasagna on fire and then punched it.
And slapped it.
Okay, so there's two screws. There's one at the front of the trigger guard, at the front of the floor plate, and there's one just behind the trigger guard. They're both 1/4 inch screws. You just undo those two, and that holds the action and everything into stock. So yeah, back in the 90s, these were made to a reasonable quality. Nowadays, the quality of their manufacturing has suffered quite a bit, and
it's still not bad though.
it's not what it used to be.
No, but it's not bad. Like, don't talk it
I mean, everyone's
down
Ruger.
stupidly.
No, but Ruger built their design around the investment casting process, yeah?
Right.
And so they designed an action that had some intricacies to it, which you could incorporate into the design easily because they were cast. Remington sold their rifles on the idea of being a one-piece billet machine action. And that's why they're round, because you can just get a round piece of billet and then make an action out of it. And yeah, and so they sold themselves on different ideas. But you can't then turn around and then start casting actions and stuff, and still try and sell your gun on the idea of being a billet machine gun. And they're not what they used to be. They're nowhere near. And that's because Remington has had to compete in the same market as guns like Ticker.
Mm.
Yeah?
And Ruger. Yeah.
Ticker and Ruger and Weatherby and Hauer and that sort of stuff, yeah? But they've had to do it with this gun. But what did Seiko do? They didn't make their Seiko shit. They brought in the Ticker. So that Seiko didn't have to compete on price, so they kept the quality there. Weatherby brought in the Vanguard, yeah? Hauer are always just Hauer. Ruger bought in the Ruger American. So they all did that. Remington bought in the Remington 783, which is a Yugoslavian-made gun of some sort, like a Mauser style rifle. Yeah? But their Remington 700s have been suffering.
Well, the 783, everybody that I've spoken to that's got one, have not a bad thing to say about it. So it obviously
That's because someone who
the
owns
job.
one isn't going to say anything bad about it.
Well, it also cost them less than $1,000, and
Yeah, fair enough.
the
Like,
kangaroo
they're a
shot
budget gun.
doesn't know what you shot it with.
Yeah, it won't make. We're not talking about 783s though. We are talking about 700, and that's what this is. And so so there's a few design features which they really sold these things on well. The round action made from billet, the way the bolts were made with the sear angles and all that sort of stuff. They had really quick lock times, so the time between you pushing the trigger and it actually firing the bullet exiting the barrel was very quick. And that was sold on people on the idea that it had less time for things to move when you pull the trigger. And that's the extent of the good things that I can think to say about Remington.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so they're a round bottom action, so they bed into the stock, so that round thing beds into that round thing. And there's always a bit of slop in there, yeah? So if you've got a Remington 700, you really need to have it bedded if you want to shoot the best out of it. So
That's pillared, isn't it?
yeah, it's pill.
Yeah.
So some V blocks and that sort of stuff, because they're a round action, the V block will like center align it, and so that's an advantage over flat bottom actions where you can't get away with that. You have to actually hold them straight and bed them. So that's one advantage to a round bottom action. There's also a lot of stuff available aftermarket for Remington, stocks and triggers and all sorts of stuff.
What about all the Remington 700 clones?
Same thing. They make clones so they can take advantage of all the stuff that's available on the market.
Yeah, but
and the solid design.
are they?
And because they're Yanks and they don't like to admit that someone else has got a better idea than me.
Have they improved the wheel, say with like a Stiller or something like that?
Oh, absolutely.
They've definitely improved over
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Sprint
yeah.
700.
Yeah.
So they're definitely worth the extra, say spending $2,000,
Bucks on an action
$12,000.
rather than
Yeah.
yeah. There's significant advantage.
Could you pull that one down and show us the difference?
Oh, it's a Stolly.
That's a Stolly, right?
Yeah. No, I've probably got a Stiller action out there, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Remington. So,
James asked, is it possible to no-scope someone? Only if you do a 360 first out.
360, yeah, black scope, no scope, someone. Yeah, definitely. So, could you imagine if there was World War III and all the COD players would be
it's going to
over
be
it,
so good. There's going to be so many dudes jumping in.
jumping off
it's gonna
buildings
be great.
and doing like spins in the air and then just firing and then dying when they hit the ground,
Nathan's actually asked.
and then winding up in the gulag.
Nathan's asked, what would you choose for general hunting? Well, I've never hunted a general, but probably something that you can shoot at him from far away.
General, they're probably soft.
Yeah,
general.
but they're always hidden behind other people. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So
That was
So,
something
yeah,
I've been
we-
waiting to say for a while.
Remington scope bases though are pretty standard. You can get them everywhere, so there's advantages there. And that trigger system's been replaced a couple of times now because they've had a couple of problems with the older models, warranty issues. There's an ongoing litigation issue, I believe, associated with it. But they had some of the glue and stuff that holds them together going off in cold climates and shit. But that's one of their latest trigger systems. So the only adjustment on it is that one there. It's in the blade itself, and that adjusts the weight. There are screw adjustments, but they're all glued up in the front and the rear, and that adjusts your sear engagement and all that. But really, if you've got one of these guns and you don't like the trigger, throw the trigger in the bin and buy a Timney or a what's the other one? Timney or Rifle Basics or Jewel or anything like that. So they've got an angled sear. So if you have a look at the sear on a Remington bolt, the old Remingtons used to be able to easily get them apart too, but they don't do that anymore. Like you've got to grab that. The old ones had a slot. You just put a 5-cent coin in there and you can undo the bolt head. But they've gone away from that.
Apparently, you just use your shoelace on that now. You can pull it.
That's right. That comes from 1903
Yeah.
when Springfield was first made.
That's it. Well, I wouldn't want to give it a try because I reckon my shoelaces break.
Yeah.
Well, old leather shoelace might be right.
Yeah, that's it.
But they're nowhere near as easy to get apart as what they used to be.
But they are now because I've made a tool to take them apart.
Yeah,
Night,
you got to
Kathy.
make a tool.
Nice,
As
Kathy.
opposed-
Thanks for joining.
We're just about talking
We'll see you
about
next week.
Mausers that a 72-year-old man can pull apart in his sleep without any tools. Like comparatively, these things are like Philistine in nature.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think they'd own their heritage to something that's as simple as a Mauser, you know. But yeah, so the 45-degree sear. So if you look at the bottom, the sear on like Savages, or not Savage, but Hauer and Ticker and that, their sears are at 90 degrees. So they contact the sear on the trigger like that, and then the trigger sear drops out of the way and the firing pin goes forward. With the Remington, they've got 45-degree sear. So the sear is angled at 45 like that, and the sear on the trigger is 45 like that. So they contact each other. Now, the pressure from the mainspring from the firing pin is actively pushing that sear down out the way, which is why they got quick lock time. As soon as the sear breaks, it pushes that sear down out the way and fires the gun quicker. The bad thing about that is, because it's got 45-degree sear, the pressure is pushing down on the trigger body, but because it's solid until you pull the trigger, it's actually pushing the firing pin, the sear up, which cocks the whole back of the bolt up. So when you push a Remington bolt in, lock it down like that, it actually kicks the back of the bolt up like that, which means only the bottom lug contacts. The top lug doesn't contact in the action, so all the pressure is taken up by that bottom lug. The action face, the bolt face is on piss, and they wear on the bottom lug faster. And the bottom lug in the action has a big hole milled out behind it, so it's nowhere near as strong. Yeah, so if they have a catastrophic failure, you'll rupture it, split that lug off.
Oh,
So there's pros and cons to it, but I've never been someone that likes Remington. I still don't like Remington, and so I'm going to have lots of really bad things to say about them. So there's each to their own. You know, I can shoot whatever you like, but I don't like Remington.
Doesn't like a lot of things
There
actually.
you go. Well, I mean, how many? I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, these are fucking beautiful gun. Oh, they're really good, and oh, they shoot really good. Yeah, they do shoot well, you know. I remember back in about 2002, WSAA did a review on 223 rifles. Yeah, so they got like a dozen 223 rifles. They had Remingtons, they had Weatherby Vanguards, they had Weatherby Mark 5s, the old of SVR, and they had what else? Like Tickers and Savages. They had heaps of 223 rifles. They ran a whole series of tests on them all, and the one that came out on top was the Remington 700 with the 20-inch barrel. It shot the tightest group across a couple of different rounds, and it won the tests. So, you know, each to their own. I mean, there's plenty of people out there that like Remingtons. I don't. And so I'm not going to sit here and do a review on it and sing its praises, because then I'm just doing a paid ad.
Fair enough.
So if you've got anything nice to say about it, you go.
Oh, no, I don't.
Now that I've shat all over it,
Yeah, no, I don't.
and everyone who owns a Remington's going, oh, I never liked this show in the first place. Fuck.
Yeah, I've got not much either. I would much rather own anything else. But, yeah, good on people.
Alright, so that's killed it for tonight.
That's really done it.
That's
Anyway.
just ruined everyone's mood.
We do have to look at getting going because it is 10 to 7.
Is it?
Yeah, well, we do have to go home tonight though. Zane, what's your favourite brand of hunting rifle? Like
Weatherby
you said-
Mark 5, and I can explain why in a subsequent video. I'll pull one apart. I've got like 4 or 5 Weatherby Mark 5s. So if you're looking for from a design perspective, I really like Mark 5s, and like I said, I'll talk about it not so. If you like really classic style rifles, my favourite rifle is Kimber, and I can talk about that in future episodes.
Or a Ruger number 1.
I've got a Ruger number 1,
You've got a
so
couple
that
of
way I've got a Ruger number 1. I've got a couple of Rugers.
You got the 2.
I don't like them. No, I don't. I really don't.
Oh, I'll have them.
Yeah, I was going to say I'll have one.
So
I'll have that nice engraved one then, because just say I've got one. I'll leave it here and everything.
I mean, what benefits are there to a Ruger number 1?
No,
They're a
isn't.
nice classic single shot rifle.
There's not.
But that's all fuzzy, sort of touchy-feely stuff. There's nothing actually concrete about that
No, it's
that makes it any advantage.
But
over anything
when you
else.
buy anything, apart from, like spoons and shit like that, if you're buying something like that, it's got to give you the fizz. It's got to give you that feeling that you've done something well for yourself. That you don't buy it just because it's there. You buy it because you
I think
love
you're
it.
dancing around the word erection without actually saying it. That's what you mean.
Well, yeah, but I mean, girls shoot too, and I don't want to.
That is true, yeah.
I
That's a
don't-
bit sexist.
I don't want to sit there and say that they've got an erection or a light on or anything like that. I just want to say that it might give them the nice feeling that, when they pick it up, they go,
Moist.
I like it. So that's what it's going to be about.
Shane Elmore will be there, sitting there watching his phone. Moist.
Anyway, all right, I think we call it.
Really appreciate it, guys. Big numbers tonight. Thanks very much.
Have a great weekend.
Remember, we want to try and get to 30,000, and so if you can help us do that, we'd really appreciate it. And if we do get to it, we're going to have a competition. People are going to win. Oh, shit! So I put up a post the other day where I had people guess what the average number of rounds purchased during the COVID crisis thing was, and the mode as well for bonus points.
It was
there was
a
actually
million.
one person. I'm going to actually go back and find out who it was.
It was $1 million.
No.
Oh,
I'm going to find out who it was. Someone got it pretty much smack on, and we're going to give them a prize. And I was supposed to write the name down before tonight, and I forgot. But the average number of rounds purchased per person during the COVID crisis was 230, which is like 5 packets of 22 ammo. Yeah? Where's 230 rounds of 12 gauge? Like it's one brick of 12 gauge. Or it's, like...
yeah, just pretend like I've got a brick.
It's that much 22 ammo. Like it's not much. Like the average number was actually quite small. And people say, oh, that's because a lot of people bought bugger all ammo. There was quite a few people that bought a little bit of ammo. Like the most frequent amount of ammo purchased, the mode, was 100 rounds, 2 packets of ammo. Like most people weren't buying. Yes, there was a couple of people that bought big quantities of ammo. We had 7 people purchase more than 800 rounds of ammo. And this is So the police came and checked all of our figures, which we provided them freely, middle of March. So the month prior to that, the lead up to that is what the figures I'm talking about. So the most frequent amount of ammo purchased was 100 rounds, which is bugger all. And that's so, and you basically can't buy ammo in smaller quantities than that in a lot of instances. And so it was nothing.
So
but
the reasons given for the closure and that people were stockpiling,
yeah, people were stockpiling.
rubbish.
It was absolute rubbish. We had 7 people buy more than 750 rounds of ammunition. One of them was a club, for example, who was buying like months worth of ammunition. And a couple of them were professional shooters.
Pest controllers.
That's what they do for a living. But the other thing you had to think about was at the time, a lot of the private schools were closing. They were sending their kids home because of the crisis. We had a lot of cockies come to the city to pick up their boys who was in the city at what do you call it?
School.
Boarding
Yeah,
school.
they were at boarding. They were
Boarding
boarding
school.
here in the city.
Yeah.
So they were coming into the city, picking their boys, all girls up, dropping past the gun shop on the way home. So that's why it was a bigger quantity, but no one person was stocking up heaps of ammo because they were prepping or whatever. So it was a complete lie. Anyway, someone pretty much got it smack on. They guessed 250 and 100, and the answer is 230 average and 100 was the mode. So yeah, so there you go. But thanks very much, guys. We want to get to 30,000, so like, share, follow, recommend your mates tune in.
We've done
it here tonight. It will be on YouTube.
We've done everything we can this end to make it get to 30,000. Now it's up to you guys to get it to 30,000. So we're counting on you.
Cheers, guys.
Catch you later.
We'll see you next Friday.